unique enough.
Perfect. Welcome back to the Fine Show. We're doing another talk today with Charlyn Huss. If you want to heal your chronic pain and stay healthy without risky workouts or other activities like hiking, biking, or skydiving, watch this interview. Charlyn Huss has helped her own body heal from adult onset scoliosis and is certified and licensed in at least 7 holistic body and mind techniques to help her own clients, improve their own health. And now Charlyn has also worked to develop her product, CoreSpring. As she'll explain and demonstrate today, this home device with proper training can help you heal your chronic pain and keep it away. Okay? Let's basically help understand today, Charlyn, what's going on and how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Dr. Tony. This is going to be fun.
Good. And I know you have your talk. We'll talk about the very end about your talk this Sunday in passing itself. We want to understand who you are first and also what your product is. And starting with when you were first diagnosed with scoliosis as your, I guess, health condition.
It was in my 20s.
Got it.
It was actually while I was in college. And now I had kind of chronic pain, childhood back pain.
Okay.
But I was never diagnosed or screened for scoliosis. And I remember there was a girl in high school who had a brace, and I was almost jealous. I was like, she's, they're fixing her. I've got nothing, there's nobody can help me.
What's up with me? Come on. Help us sister out, right? Help us sister out.
And I was told, it's just growing pains. I was told a lot of things, but what I did was because I'm a body person, I'm a kinesthetic person. I know that now. Back then, I learned to swim very early in my life, like when I started to walk, because I grew up in LA, in Los Angeles. And so I realized over time that the first decade of my life that swimming made my back feel better, but I just needed to do something when I couldn't get in the pool. So I put the beach towel down on my bedroom floor and I got yoga books and magazine articles. And, I grew up in Los Angeles, so I could get a lot of different magazines. My mom would, give me an allowance, and I bought these little books with little exercises, stretching exercises. Now I know they're yoga. Now I know they're Pilates. I didn't know any of that back then. And I just knew that I felt better. But I became a lifelong curator of exercise. And I loved to move and I loved sports, but I was never really picked for the teams because my reaction time was off because of the pain in my back. And it wasn't really until I was in college and I was in a ballet class that my ballet teacher noticed this overdevelopment of muscle on my right side. Okay. And the shoulder was dropped. And then I did a workshop, a totally different workshop. And the guy, he was a chiropractor, and he said, "You understand you have scoliosis in your spine?" I said,
"You know this, right?" Yeah.
You know this, right? I said, "No, I have no idea." But, it had been pointed out to me by just one person before that. So that's when I thought, well, I've got my diagnosis. I've got the reason.
I know what it is now.
I know what it is now. What do you do about it? Well, they told me it was permanent or it was going to get worse. Okay. And I said, which is it? Which is it? If it's permanent, then it's not going to change. So getting worse is change, but getting better is also an option. So I just kept seeking to get out of pain. And eventually I did a lot of yoga. Eventually I stumbled into Pilates. And literally, I was living in Europe when I found it. I found a little book, Joseph Pilates Return to Life, in English, in an English-speaking bookstore that mostly focuses on poetry and other things, but it's English-speaking. Found his book and found I was writing a dance article, and I met a dancer, and she was going to a plie session. I said, "Can I tag along?" Because I'm the curator of exercises. I got to watch this session, which was on what I now know to be a reformer.
Got it.
And I was haunted by this machine. And when I came back to the States a few years later, I looked up Pilates, right? Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, the two were together. I did not know that. I did not know they were remotely, because the word Pilates never came.
Did they have those in Europe before they brought to the U.S. basically, or?
No, this was just part of the dance community. Okay. The dance community has had Pilates for quite some time. Joseph Pilates was originally from Germany, but he left Germany before World War II because of his experiences during World War I.
Yeah, smart.
So he came to New York, and that's where he developed and his method with the machines, because he had prior to that developed the mat. After World War I, he tinkered with machines, but when he came to the US, that's when he really committed to the machines in his studio. And he worked with George Balanchine and Martha Graham and other dancers and boxers, because he was right in New York, right where all of those things were happening. He was not just interested in working with dancers. He would work with anyone who would stand still for 5 minutes.
Fantastic. Wow.
So
And going back to, with your experiences, how do you decide to get into natural? Basically, talked about some of the healing that for scoliosis. Instead of going the medical pathway, why do you choose more natural versus, like you mentioned, bracing, medications, or surgery? Why was that more your tune?
I wasn't really a candidate for surgery, number one, because I had an S curve. So they told me there's really no surgical intervention. And because I was a lifelong sort of stretcher, I was in fairly good shape most of my life. You know, if people saw me standing with perfect posture, I had a burning pain up the back of my neck into my skull. And, but I learned in ballet how to stand and look like I didn't feel any pain. So I know you dancers out there, you hit the line, make the line. Doesn't matter. It's true for athletes too. Make the basket. Doesn't matter if your shoulder's killing you. And people accept pain as normal. I think I wanted to be normal. I wanted to play like other kids.
Got it.
So that was my standard was normal, but I didn't really ever think that would be pain-free. I just thought, I just want to feel better. The holistic method just became part of my learning mechanism because I'm a kinesthetic learner.
Great.
And I didn't like the idea of drugs unless it was an absolute pain. My drug of choice is Advil. I'll totally confess, but I take
over the counter. Yep.
So little of it now, I can't even say. But there was a time when I was taking quite a bit. But that was just because I would be sore from exercising. I can say Pilates helped me deal with the soreness. Pilates, combination with good chiropractic care, something called Yamana body rolling, Alexander technique, Feldenkrais, Heller work, massage. Those modalities are mostly about, they're not about exercise. And what I wanted was I wanted a challenge for fitness wise. I was an athlete trapped in a body that couldn't do athletics. So
you were okay being uncomfortable, stretching, working out, and maybe a little bit of pain, because at the end, I'm helping my body get better because it's going to feel better at the very end.
Right. It always felt better afterwards.
Fantastic.
It always did. CoreSpring came out of my Pilates practice.
Okay.
I did not set out to invent something, but I had a very unique way of approaching Pilates because of my background and all these other modalities. I changed my cueing with Pilates about 20 years ago. I don't cue like other Pilates teachers. Because I studied psycholinguistics, I have a degree in psychology. I also studied theater. I'm a professional actress, stage and screen. So I had I wanted to be a stage actress when I was about 11, and you can't do that if you're in pain. I thought,
we're talking about not just one show. You're talking about show after show after show after show after show.
Right. I mean, when I started really looking at what I wanted to create with my life, I wanted to create art. I wanted to create with my body. And that's what you do as an actor. I didn't make that direct connection, but I knew that if I was going to be an actor, I would have to be in good shape if I was going to be on stage. And I loved going to the theater. I was totally inspired by Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet. And I decided I was going to study Shakespeare and acting because I that's just what I decided. Quiet, just like my beach towel. I didn't tell anybody, but I ended up years later on the West End performing in London and studying at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, acting.
Wow.
And that's when vocal resonance and other things about physical well-being really came into my world. And understanding the voice is part of your body. It's a physical thing. We tend to think of it as ethereal. Almost like it's not part of the body until we get a sore throat. We don't really think about the voice as part of the body. But those things, so the holistic approach for me was always to be clear-minded and to be as pain-free as possible so that I could do with my time, with my 2 arms, 2 legs at 24 hours, what I wanted to do. And I wouldn't be sidelined by pain as I was and could be when I pushed it or when I was trying to act like other kids and couldn't. So I didn't realize that years later I would be the not normal adult sitting
it's
here.
Almost like you had to get in tune with, like you mentioned, the body and mind together, so it all work together. But almost you hit a limit to where this may not be, but now understand the big picture of how my body should work.
Right, and I think I was lucky because in college I was exposed to people in other majors. I was a psych major, and I also had a radio show, so I was always interested in sort of performing arts even then.
Wow.
But I was with some science major friends who were friends of mine, friends who were friends of mine. And I got introduced to the concepts of physics and this idea that we're only 4% mass. So if we're 96% energy and 4% mass, then my pain should be, I should be able to deal with that. That's what it meant to me. And I actually wrote a paper back then when I was about 20 saying, how would quantum physics change psychological paradigms if we knew it wasn't just cause and effect, if we knew that it wasn't just mom and dad, if we're only 4% part of that aspect of our life. So I do apply some of these concepts to how I teach and the way I believe people can change very quickly if they can move past these assumptions about,
or almost like the social norm, right? The social norm, what people expect. It's almost like thinking, okay, if my body mind is 90, you said this is 4% mass and 96% energy. And how do I get the energy out? Because I know this is a true law. How do I get that out in my physicality so I can actually feel good, be good, and move good and think good?
Now, those things are very common now. People talk about manifesting. People talk about meditating. All those things. But those things I started meditating.
What's your earbud?
I realized it helped me. Thank you. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but here we are. So I've watched this whole movement sort of develop where people are now thinking, quantum physics, and how does it's very slow. It's a drip. It's an IV drip into the culture about these concepts. But when I'm working with people, and this is what happened with CoreSpring, I was always obsessed with springs because I always wondered, why did Joe Pilates pick springs when he could have done,
the reformer,
levers and weights? What was it about the spring? And there's a reason why he picked the spring, because of where he developed his machine. His mechanics idea came when he was working in a hospital, and that's what he had. He was in a prison camp during World War I, and that's all he had access to. And he was working with people with PTSD, amputations, people who couldn't get out of bed. They couldn't do his method. So he realized the essence of his method was teaching breathing techniques that helped you access core muscles, and you could move with assistance, the springs, in order to feel those contrology muscles. He called his method contrology, ultimately.
Contrology, okay. And every generation has their terminology per se. Right. So let's get right into it then too. You mentioned the CoreSpring and how reformers have become that. Well, how did you transition from a reformer to your product, CoreSpring?
COVID.
Nice.
I mean, what happened was I co-created the apparatus just before COVID in late 2019. And I had a very thriving Pilates studio of 13 years, brick and mortar in South Pasadena, California, just a fabulous little gem of a studio, hardwood floors, Persian rugs, soft lighting, you just came in and it was all about Pilates. It was not a gym. It was the ungym. I love that place. And I was going to develop CoreSpring there, right? Because I knew immediately that this thing was special, that I'd never seen it because I went to the conferences for Pilates. I knew what was out there. I was always in touch with what was going on with fitness. I had my mastery teachers in my Pilates program. I'd say, go out, do stuff, and come back and tell me. Go do that fusion class. Come back and tell me. Go do that Sebastian Legree class. He's a guy who's created something that looks like a reformer. Go do his class and see if you can pick out who's the Pilates teacher in the class and who's not, just by how they're talking to you and how they're directing you to do with your body. And so I was very in tune with what was going on, and I knew that there was nothing like that the minute I put it in my hands. Wow. And then COVID hit, and I couldn't keep my studio open.
Of course.
My rate didn't change. My clients, everybody scattered. My teachers scattered. And I had to close. So from March, I kept it open from March through July, and then I closed right at the beginning of August 2020. And I took CoreSpring home. And so I realized that's what I wanted to focus on. I applied for some patents. We did, my co-creator, we applied for patents. We actually eventually received those patents, but we spent the lockdown period, late nights, just working on these patents. It was really it was a PhD. It was really a PhD. I'd never written a patent before.
You did it from raw groundwork and boom, just go for it.
I knew, because I've had several ideas over the years that didn't come to fruition, and then somebody else did it later, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah. Dang it.
This thing, and the reason I did it wasn't just to make money. Of course, I want to make a living.
Why not?
It was to make sure that this thing got stewarded by the proper teacher, and I realized I was that teacher.
Good, fantastic.
I was the teacher for that, and this partner and I, we're not business partners because he's a full-time driver for UPS, so he's not yet involved with the CoreSpring LLC Corporation. I don't know what he'll do down the line, but he is part of the DNA of CoreSpring, and we collaborate and we work really well together. He's a muse, because he needs to fix his body every single day, which is why
here's your test dummy. Hey, let's try this over here. Oh, that's
the fact that it was created by me and a man who's 6'2" really gives it the street cred, because this is not just for women. People often assume that Pilates is for women. They didn't even know Pilates was a man.
No,
this one has the DNA of a man and a woman, and he was instrumental in how to, because we had the choice of making it, and I'll just show it to you.
You're good, please.
He had the choice of making it a lot of different spring lengths for different heights, and this is what it looks like. It's an expansion spring, but everything about it is custom. You can't pull any of these items out of inventory from anyone else.
Perfect.
Because they are. I have a prototype on here. I don't want to show that one.
No problem.
Let me get it off here. But here we go. Everything was developed for the body. So this spring is not designed for a machine.
Good.
Anybody working on it with a machine would think it's too weak, because it doesn't have the same tension that a machine spring does, like a Pilates machine. But it's really designed to diminish torsion on your joints.
Perfect.
To promote core connection. It really named itself, because when you start interacting with it, it activates your core. And then during the lockdown, when I'd be sitting there and my business is collapsing, the world is falling apart, this little spring, and it didn't have a sleeve on it. That didn't come until a few years ago. Because I wanted to do this.
Got it.
I knew I could do some releases with it, so I put the sleeve on there. And so we have a whole neck protocol. You asked me about some specific exercises. Maybe I'll show a couple of those.
Good, please.
But the fact was, this little guy was in the corner of my living room as I sat at my dining room table watching the world fall apart, saying, let's create something.
Why not?
There was a lot of play involved, because I thought, what can I do with this spring? I mean, what does one spring have to offer? So I really did a deep dive into what just one spring could do. Considering as a Pilates teacher, there are dozens of springs that I have to choose from, dozens of angles that I need to calculate when I'm working with a client. Will it create torsion on the shoulder? Are they going into their neck? With a fixed spring, I had to calculate constantly what it was creating for the client. Was it creating joint activation, or was it creating core activation? So CoreSpring, just the humble spring that activated the core right away, gave me so many more options. And because you're working proportionally to you can identify. So the method is really about identifying what's working, why it's working, how to identify what's working and why. And what I was saying about spring length, what we did was, and what's on special, and I have to say, I don't sell this as a standalone much anymore. I really sell this as part of a membership where you get the booklet, which gives you about 8 different exercises. We'll go back here.
Got it. You're good.
Exercises. And you get the carrying case, but you also get these carabiners. And the carabiners go on each end, so you can work with a man who's 6 feet. It's usually over 1. So, and we have a shorter spring for people who are 5'2" and under. And by inspiration of a little girl who bought a CoreSpring at a recent conference where I was, she was about 11. And when she walked away, my friend who was helping me at the booth, she goes, "That little girl's like your daughter. She's just like you. She's in her room doing the exercises, trying to make herself feel better." And her mother came and bought her a CoreSpring. So I am creating and I have beta tested with kids, and they really love it. I just hadn't planned on creating a kids corner, but I'm creating a kids corner.
Nice.
Early 2026. And because her response to it was so phenomenal. So we do have two different options. We have the standard CoreSpring that you can add the extenders, and this is because of what we call pull force in the CoreSpring. So when you add the extenders for someone who's taller, because it's a proportional device, don't make it weaker. It doesn't make the spring weaker. What it does is it allows you to have what we call the CoreSpring pull force, the sweet spot with this particular kind of spring that we've created. It's custom made and patented, that activates your core and doesn't create torsion and enables you to move freely, because it's not adding you can use it in a targeted way, but it's not adding targeted resistance the way a weight does. And don't get me wrong, I love weights. Let's work with gravity. We're going to have to work with gravity. This is about pervasive response to resistance, meaning you are activating whole muscle groups, you are orchestrating the core with the limbs, you are integrating upper and lower body, and you are working fascia. You're definitely working fascial lines.
And my interpretation of that is that you're not losing resistance. Doesn't matter where the spring is or the core spring is. You're able to maintain that resistance the whole time, not going to lose. It's not going to get weaker or stronger based on where you are.
Well, it's funny you say that, because we're often working with the CoreSpring in slack. And this is where a little bit of physics comes into play. Because springs store energy, I can't really explain it. But when people have the CoreSpring in their hands, and we're doing exercises even as simple as this, called the slinky roll, and I do this with a lot of senior citizens, because as you're doing this, the core is like lighting up.
Perfect.
The multifidi and the spine are starting to pay attention. So they start to pay attention to this movement. It only weighs 1 pound, 3 ounces. It's not about the gravitational relationship.
No.
There's something going on proportionally, and something about the spring energy. I mean, spirals are naturally occurring forces. The whirlwind, the whirlpool, these spirals gather energy and disperse it. So there's something about this that you can't do with anything else. I've tried it with bands. It's mesmerizing. But anyway.
Yeah.
So there's something. So what my point is that, for example, there's an exercise called Da Vinci. It's the first one in the booklet.
Okay.
And I can stand up and show you.
Good, please.
Let me unblur my background. I didn't know how to do that. I blurred it on the way in. I don't know how to blur it out.
Yeah, that's beyond my knowledge. I just have a background. I see background.
I just have it. I mean, I'm in my empty studio.
It's one of the settings there. Under.
Here we go. Got it.
Yeah, there we go.
So I'll just turn that off.
Nope.
There we go. Now we've got the background. Can you see that?
No, yep.
Blur.
Yep.
Okay. So let's see.
Good. Yeah. Perfect.
How much the camera can take it.
You're good right there. Yep.
So I normally teach. So Da Vinci is based on the Leonardo, the Vitruvian Man, the one we all know.
Yep.
Because the first time I saw my partner do it, I was like, oh my God, it's just like the Vitruvian Man. So it's really been refined since then. One thing that's become very clear in CoreSpring is that we are activating everything around the sternum bone as it relates to the spine. Sternum bone connects the ribs to the spine. So there's a relationship between the sternum bone and the spine that we really explore in CoreSpring. And again, the apparatus came first. The apparatus really created the method. But there are things about the method that you can do without a CoreSpring. That I have realized over time that really has blown my mind. But in terms of spring resistance, for example, here I'm in what we call slinky slack. And slinky slack is just hanging in your arms, and it's completely neutral. Okay. Then you go into smiley slack, where it looks like a little smile across the thighs, and that turns on your lower belly and releases your traps. So your shoulder blades go onto your rib cage really nicely. And what that does is line you up. So when we go to here to go into our Da Vinci, we're not going into it from here.
Okay.
See the difference? We're not taking all that postural anomaly, because everybody has it, out from outside the room. We set it up so when you come to chest line, you're better aligned. Now, what I used to do, and I still do sometimes with advanced students, we open it and touch. We actually expand it and start to really get into that CoreSpring. But Lately, I just teach it like this. You come with your arms in the W and you touch the CoreSpring in slack. So I'm really not doing too much with it at all. And once you've touched the sternum bone, you bring your arms behind your shoulder line and you wrap the sternum bone with the CoreSpring as your shoulder blades come down your back. And you keep your head weight in your body. You don't let your head fall back. And it's activating your lats, all those lovely other Latin name muscles, your rhomboids, the teres major, minor, all the external rotators of your shoulder. It releases the upper traps. So that's what we do. We work with slack. And sometimes people can't even do that. They're really not
range of motion,
So I just keep it in slack and we just bring it back like that. And what I realize is that even this is called direct spring resistance, which is what this has taught us, is that when this CoreSpring is interacting with your body, even in slack, it is helping with proportion. It is creating some kind of energetic relationship that is not like a towel or a band, even though it could feel like the same weight as some bands. So some of the exercises, like I'll show you the neck release that I was talking about.
Well, and the Da Vinci, do you hold it there for a certain amount of time, or how long would you?
Get in, get out. And the word hold is a 4-letter word in my world because we're not holding, we're breathing.
Good.
So I'm trying to teach people that movement is inherent in everything.
Good.
We never stop moving from the moment we conceive until the moment we pass away out of this earth. And based on our conversation earlier, we're still moving. We're energy, okay?
Never stop.
Only 4% is gone, if you think of it that way. So I'm standing, I go into Da Vinci, so it's like, I'll cue the breathing, even though I don't obsess too much about breathing, I just want you to keep doing it. You go from here, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale.
Like the breathing too, yep.
You're breathing in, and you're looking down your nose like you're looking down a pair of glasses so you don't go cross-eyed. You lift your body into the CoreSpring as you're bringing your arms behind the shoulder line. What's really key here is that you're not pulling your arms down. They're moving down, but you're not pulling them down. You're just pulling them behind the shoulder line. Your mother says pull your shoulders back. This is like that on steroids.
Got it.
There's quite a bit of resistance. And the trick is when you come up, so you breathe in, and then you come up. And you come up with the CoreSpring still touching you. So you're not letting it pull you away. It's got a lot of energy in it. It feels like it wants to pull you. So part of your engagement of your core is learning how to move with the CoreSpring and not let it just pull you around or fighting. You're not fighting the resistance. You're bringing the resistance into your mind body, meaning you're attentive to it. You start to understand how to use it, and your body starts to benefit from that.
I love having the breathing part of it too, because it makes your whole body focus on just you and how it feels for that individual person. Not has to be this way, that way. It's how you feel through, how you actually work through it yourself. And there's no time limit or reps. It's almost like just let it slowly flow on your own time.
Yes. What I discovered as a Pilates teacher, because you're taught a lot of breath cueing, was that people, when I would say breathe in, they go, oh, I'm breathing out. I'm doing it wrong. And that went on for years, Dr. Tony, until I realized, what hell am I going to die on? What's important here?
Yeah.
Here's the trick in teaching breathing. People are already breathing.
It's automatic.
It's automatic. So I realized I was working against sometimes how people naturally wanted to breathe in the movement. So I stopped doing that. Good. So people are like, well, what's the breathing on this? And I'll say, just keep doing it, and then I'll kick in every so often and tell you what I want to do. But I use words like empty. Empty your lungs. So it's let air in, empty. Let more air in, empty, whichever. I just breathing from what I did before.
And you give people some grace, right? Some grace, what they can do, what they basically grace what you want to feel. Basically, it's not about the breathing, it's about the feeling.
Point? That's my point. What is the point? What do they need to know about breathing? And this is the main thing that people need to know about breathing, in my opinion. And this was true as a Pilates teacher, and certainly is true of my CoreSpring method. You must learn how to empty your lungs in order to get fresh air in. And breathing out doesn't do it. You have to empty. You have to empty.
Got it.
Because the vacuum of the lungs is going to pull the air in there. We don't even know how to use that vacuum. We're so thinking that when we're exercising, that we're breathing in and breathing out the way we're told.
Yeah.
You know, emphasizing the movement, like when you're doing a squat, exhale on the way up. Well, that's not true. That's not true in Pilates. That's not true in dance. And that's not true when you're falling off the curb and you're about to hit your head. Are you thinking inhale or exhale?
No. You don't have to break anything. Sometimes I think of not break anything.
You have to, but your core has to be responsive to an inhale or an exhale on the effort. So that's the way I taught Pilates for 20 years. This is what I was talking about, the cueing that I changed. But I don't do that. I don't say the word hold. I say inhale and exhale because you have to verbally communicate.
Yeah.
People breathe in and out through their nose in the CoreSpring method, as opposed to the mouth.
Good.
Because of the way the core can drop every time you blow out. That's something I noticed as a Pilates teacher. And that's a whole other conversation. I think you were asking about some exercises, maybe specifically to help people feel better in their low back.
Well, yeah, basically, like it's for, say, low back pain, and how would they, I guess, demonstrate some of that for low back pain and even low back just maintenance too, to keep their back healthy.
I think the main thing for keeping a back healthy are the lateral stretches.
Got it.
Adding lateral, and when you add resistance to a lateral stretch, you enable the body to have something to work with. So we do a lot of lateral stretches in CoreSpring. I'll show you one. It's called slack stretch side, because you're working with a slack spring for most of it. So you go from slinky to smiley, but you have the palms facing behind you now. Okay. And then you come all the way up. And I'm going to change my camera just a little bit so you can see my...
A little higher maybe. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah. So you go, and you can see my feet are just apart and my toes are pointed out slightly so we don't hyperextend the knees. You come up overhead in slack.
Got it.
Slack. So everything, the CoreSpring is not expanded. Then you let your hip stretch. You bring the CoreSpring behind you. When you turn, you're getting the front of your hip flexor. You've already got a little bit of your IT band going. Now you've got more of it. And then you press and you reach.
Got it.
And you keep letting your hip move. So you're never holding. You're breathing. You're going to feel your glute and that back leg start to work because it's starting to stabilize. You bend your elbows and you reach till the CoreSpring is overhead on the angle and come up. And when people do this in class, they're like, "Oh, I love that." I mean, it's a favorite. And elderly people can do this.
Perfect.
They want to do it. They crave it when I show it to them because they don't have to work the spring all the time. This is where we use it as a a proportional tool. It's flat, so that they can feel where they are. And then they can feel how the resistance, and I'm touching my back with CoreSpring. I just want you to know, it is actually touching.
So it's on the back. Okay.
Yeah, it's on the back. And that's the direct spring resistance. Do you see the connection from arm to arm?
And go from the side too. Go from the side.
Like that?
Yep, there we go. So you're almost forcing
my wrist bend. I'm actually making a fist so that my wrists are straight.
You're forcing good posture, also helping your overall posture improve, even though you're working the lower back.
This part is the hardest part, but that's when you're getting the core. Let me do that. So you can see I'm on the angle, and you reach till it goes to slack again. And that's that whole fascia line from all the way through.
Perfect. Sets everything up.
Well, and it's also where people can feel what I'm talking about. People are very confused about what fascia is. And it is very confusing about what it is. There's actually daily discoveries about what it is, because there's so much innovation going on in what fascia is doing, how it's communicating with us, how we're communicating with it through movement. So this whole idea of working on that sideline and feeling that whole stretch, and you can feel its tendons and muscles and ligaments, all that stuff. But there's something that connects it holistically when you're using direct spring resistance that I have not experienced before. And that's why I wanted to steward this product and and it became a method. And because you had to know how to use it. You couldn't use it just like a normal spring.
You're going to waste your time.
it's a waste of time. And when I used to, I mean, it's getting better, but when I show it to Pilates teachers, they're like, this is great. My client can take it home and hook it up to the wall and use it like that. And I said, yeah, but that's Pilates. That's great. But that's not CoreSpring. CoreSpring is when you're actually working it with your body.
Nice.
Right? So I do a lot of walking training with this. You can see
Perfect.
So that's getting this whole back line, not just your tushy, although I talk about a lot about it because people can feel it. It goes all the way up your back.
And it almost forces good posture too, because like right now you're doing, so it almost forces you to keep your body up the whole time. It feels uncomfortable to even go forward too, which is great.
What's interesting about it is one thing I was looking for, and I don't know where I got this idea. One thing I was looking for was unconscious correction of my posture.
Good.
That's what I thought other people had.
Okay.
And Pilates gave it to me in a big way, but CoreSpring did something completely eye-opening. I was working with CoreSpring. I had been teaching just pretty early on. I went back to my computer, right? And like anybody, I had a laptop. And I started to, just concentrate. And my head started to drop. And I felt my body do this. I didn't do it. I did not do it. I was concentrating on what I was doing. All of a sudden, my body went.
Like, no, we do this. Oh, this is our normal. This might be, let's get back to our normal.
This was, I have pretty good posture, but even I, with a laptop, will sit there and get really concentrated. We're focused mentally. So the body sort of starts to do its gravity hooks on and takes me. But what happened was I felt my muscles unconsciously correct. I wasn't thinking, sit up straight, pull your shoulder. I wasn't thinking any of that stuff. And I was like, bingo. That's the beauty of this direct spring resistance. Because this is something I said before, CoreSpring, but it's true. Once the body gets the better way, it doesn't want to go back.
Yes. It finds a better normal, optimal normal that it wants to stay in. And if someone does CoreSpring and maintains that habit long enough, I'm assuming that's become their normal, their unconscious physiological normal, so they don't want to go back to what was feeling before.
But it's even beyond what they want. It's what happens.
Got it.
It's what happens. Because I've been saying this, and my clients who are going to watch this are going to laugh because it's true. People come into my studio and I say, hey, how is Body Susan today? Oh, and how are you doing? And so they'll tell me the things that are going on with Body Susan, because I know as a movement teacher, I'm really talking to probably 3 different entities: right, left body, and the personality.
Got it.
What CoreSpring does is it enables me to effect change for people in their body. And then I part of the method is teaching them how to allow that, to believe that. It's hard to explain, but when you alter someone's personality, or not personality, their posture dramatically, it's psychologically challenging for them to believe that that's sustainable.
And that becomes.
They'll say, I don't think I'm doing this right. And I'll say, let's go look in the mirror and let's have a look at what just happened. Because they're still thinking 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. And I've just taken them through something totally holistic that put their body in a 3-dimensional change.
They almost see it a different way versus what they were before. They can see it a bigger picture of themselves.
Right. And because these kinds of anomalies, the head pulling forward, it happens over a course of years. It's very hard for people to feel that, when you adjust them, probably they feel like they're way back here sometimes, like, whoa, because their proprioception, their ocular system, their brain is telling them where their head is.
Their brainstem, their cerebellum. Yep.
It's telling them where their head is. That's its job. So it doesn't matter how far your head's pulled forward. The body doesn't perceive that. It doesn't perceive that at all. It's going for the horizon line. So when you change the horizon line from here to here, it can feel like. So what's happening with CoreSpring that I could not do before with any other thing that I did, including Pilates, was make that transition to the new normal much quicker.
Perfect.
Much quicker, because you get an immediate effect, and it's different for everybody. There's no guarantee of what's going to happen, but it's going to improve. I will tell you that. I mean, it's not going to get worse. It's going to improve. And then you have the tool to just daily, and that's why it's a lifestyle tool that you can use. You can do the little Da Vinci, like I was demonstrating earlier. When you're just sitting at your desk and you get up, every 45 minutes, you're told to not, just get up every 45 minutes, go do a walk, get a drink of water. You can do Da Vinci, and I'll show you something else that's really
good.
It's called Posture Reset.
Posture Reset.
And I created this for my 87-year-old mother, full disclosure.
Nice. Because
she couldn't hold the CoreSpring in the loops and go like this, because it was just too much spring. She was like, whoa, So I closed the gap a little bit and put her closer to and on the spring itself.
Mm-hmm.
And you start with your legs apart. And I like the legs apart so that you're not focusing on some kind of military stance. You're not too wide, and the toes are out, so you're not locking your knees. You do a smiley slap, just touching the thighs. It turns on that lower belly and gets the back aligned. And you come up like this. And then you follow it. The trick is, when you get to here, you keep letting the arms go.
Perfect.
And you're widening your arms. You're not pushing with your hands. You're widening your arms, and that's going to open the sternum bone area. That's going to create movement in the intercostals. Again, you're getting a lot of these fascial lines that just never get activated. There's a lot of congestion for women here around their bra. There's a lot of lack of tone here in the upper arm because they're not using their hands properly. So, we're really training how to use the hands without pulling.
Perfect.
Hands as they connect to the arm. The second part of Posture Reset is you take that same stance or hold or grasp, and you take it in under a grip like that. You come to here, and you do this. This is a very common rotator cuff exercise.
Yep.
Right? You can do it for that too. You can do it unilaterally, but bilaterally it is very effective because you're getting all the postural muscles. You allow for that some of that lift, and you only do it 3 or 4 times.
Perfect.
To center, and then you do the second part, which is open elbow, and the mechanism is you press your upper arms into the body to move the lower arms, and you keep your wrists neutral, so there's no bending in the wrist, and then you can allow for that lift.
So you're using your body muscles to move the CoreSpring, not your arms at all.
You're using your arms, but only as they're connected to the core.
Yeah, so almost like connected.
Specific. And the core in CoreSpring is literally shoulder to shoulder, shoulder to hip, hip to hip. It is the entire torso.
Perfect.
There is no, and I've been taught as a Pilates teacher that this is the powerhouse.
Yeah.
And all of that's true.
Nice.
You can control, but with CoreSpring, no, because we're interacting with it so much with the arms.
Good.
That you're activating the upper arms into the body, and then you're moving the lower arms wider. So you're actually actively moving the lower arms, but here's the difference. You're not doing it with your hands. You see, when you do it with your hands, you pull away. You do it with your arms, you pull in, and when you go to this open elbow, you get deep into the lats, you get deep into that thoracolumbar area.
Rector spinae, you get the lower lats, you get the whole area. Yep.
You can get all of that. I'm really very keen on that thoracolumbar area. Maintaining rotation in movement.
Perfect.
Because that's what we lose. So as an actor, if I'm going to play an older person, what am I going to do? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hunch my posture.
Yeah.
Right?
Average.
Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around and go, what'd you say? I'm going to not have rotation in my spine. It's going to age me.
Yep.
Right? So having that rotation is going to, and having that posture and rotation are two things. Posture and rotation.
Huge.
And that's where movement training comes in. That's why it complements, that's why I work with chiropractors, because you give that turbo boost. You enable that person to get that connection And then they get the movement and the exercise that's going to reinforce it with resistance. This is not a lightweight. And I worked with somebody at a recent conference, and she was a little older. She worked with elderly people, and I showed it to her. She said, "Well, you can't work with older people. It's too powerful for them." And I said, "You know what's interesting? They love it because they get to feel their body again."
Yeah.
What are we doing with these little weights?
Maybe
we'll give them a baby bicep, but we're not transforming where they are, which is older. They're just older. It doesn't mean they can't transform.
You're wiser at that point. I call it some rigor mortis sometimes, but how do we activate those muscles and joints? Because they're still physiologically human. It just takes a little bit longer to work with them. That's all it is. Till
we die, we can build muscle till we die. What they don't talk about is how the fascia works to it's something that we communicate with movement.
Good.
So how do you communicate with fascia through movement? You improve your movement.
Huge. It takes the work.
Improve your movement. And when you improve your movement, you improve your body brain, the part of the brain that is in your fascia. We know that now. That's the proprioception that gives our feedback. I know what my arm's doing behind me, even though I can't see it, because I have a connection to it. My brother was an amputee. Unfortunately, he passed away. But he asked me once, he said, Char, how is it that I've got really bad pain in my right foot and I don't have a right foot? I don't have a right foot. And I said, it's because your brain still has the right foot.
Yeah.
Because your brain mapped that foot from the time you were developing.
Yeah.
So it hasn't let go yet of that foot. And guess what? It has the pain from that foot too. That you can let go of.
The good and the bad.
That's when he started understanding the mind body, some meditation, and in his case, prayer, just to release the foot finally from his mind body. It's called phantom limb syndrome. It's nothing. We've talked about it for thousands of years, but the way we now know how to explain it is because the brain has a map of the body that is as real to it as the three-dimensional manifestation of that body.
Wow.
So we change that map, change the body.
With the CoreSpring, have you seen any results with someone who's used it and used it religiously and as a routine? Helped any of their medical conditions, anything medical, anything that like rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory diseases?
Sure.
Good.
Definitely.
Okay.
Especially if you have arthritis in your neck, because guess what? The neck protocol with CoreSpring actually doesn't touch the neck. We go to the trap, we go to the upper trap, and we go to the occiput. So we're releasing tension at the top of the neck and at the bottom. So even people who have issues, they have cervical hernias or bulging. I have clients in my classes. They're not even in like privates with me. In my classes who have had surgical procedures on their neck that they can participate in my classes. I'm not saying it's for everybody. You have to talk to your doctor, obviously. But because we're not actually pulling on the neck and trying to do something to it, we need a professional to do that. We need people like you. That's it. I'm not that person. I'm the person who helps release the traps that are pulling on the neck or that are creating a pull on. So when you have a problem in the neck, often the bulging disc is created because of these large muscles that are pulling you. And you're trying to pull back. And then you create the bulge, right? The battle of the bulge.
You're recreating the symmetry needed to actually release that disc pressure. So now the spine can relax. And then you can actually get the full recovery, not just through medical care or chiropractic. You want everything to actually heal together. You're letting that continued healing. So when it does feel better, it's going to stay better. So thank you for helping us chiropractors keep our patients healthy, and you're doing the same bet.
Yeah, and I saw you had a little video on your Facebook page about sciatica, and releasing that pressure through those side stretches. Now, what I showed you with slack stretch side is actually pretty advanced. We have simpler ones. This is called. I've been calling it hip sway. But I'm not going to call it hip sway anymore because as of yesterday, I've changed the name because people do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm doing this. So what I changed the name to is hip glide.
Okay.
So you're getting, just my sweater a little bit, you're getting the IT band to release incrementally, and you're using the CoreSpring. The upper body and lower body are integrating. They're coordinating movement. It's increasing your breath, your oxygenation. It's lining up your posture. You start to feel like you're kind of taking your spine and just going, so you can go back up here. I'm not going to put you there. I'm going to move you there. And part of that IT band release is not just mechanically punishing it and beating it with a meat grinder or meat tenderizer. You know what people do. Is we're releasing it from foot to foot. So with hip glide, you're doing a weight transfer, and then you can take it into something that calls zero gravity. So zero gravity is in relationship to the head weight. So you'll see people do that because they think they're supposed to feel their head weight, and you just take the head weight out of the neck and the scalp, put it into the body, and you can do all kinds of things from there. And I use the zero gravity cue throughout the class and throughout the exercises, so you know if you're doing something like that, I'll say zero gravity, you know what that means from this exercise. And again, as I'm going this way and opening this hip, this glute is contracting, it's creating reciprocity, it's helping people feel how one side contracts so the other can open. So it's experiential anatomy and understanding kind of how your body works, observing it, adding the breath, as opposed to, I'm going to stretch my hip and I'm going to hold it for this long. You never stop moving with this exercise. You're moving glacially. You're moving the whole time and seeing how far you can go without pain. And this is another tenet, if you will, of CoreSpring, is zero pain.
Well, I like that you're incorporating muscles, complex muscles, and the counter muscles too, so the people understand. And even though I might be stretching this side, what's the other side doing also? It's almost like three-dimensional. You're working the front, the back, the top and bottom. So you're working the whole body, not just one body part.
This is holistic body training.
Yes.
And so when people come in, they'll say, my right leg is bothering me, and I'll do something with the left first, and then we'll do something. Like, but it's my right. I'm like, I'm not here to fix anything. I'm just here to get your body ready to fix it, because your body will fix it. And guess what? There's all kinds of stuff going on with this left leg that are creating a situation on the right. So the more I can work you unilaterally or bilaterally, the better the body, especially with the core connection and the spine work. Because that's, as a Pilates teacher and with my own background, I know that spine symmetry is almost everything.
Huge. And just like the overall body complex, the holistic aspect of the whole body and mind together work typically, like you said, for fascia. So if your body's under, say, stress, you may have a problem here, but what else might be going on causing your stress? What's the root cause?
And I do see a lot of things, they say you don't want it, if your shoulder's bothering you, just work on that side and do this, and that's a very physical therapy approach to things.
It's a medical approach.
It's a medical approach. And if you asked me earlier why I didn't do the medical approach, it's because I enjoyed movement. And I worked in physical therapy clinics. I've worked in 4 as a Pilates teacher. And I thought at one time I wanted to be a physical therapist because I wanted the credibility. If you said my PT told me to do this, then you're not going to do that. You want to do this, right? Right? Yep. So I started to realize that no, I don't do what they do. And in every clinic, I was the person that people came to after physical therapy was over and they needed to regain core connection because the shoulder was fixed, but the core was shot because the physical therapy they were getting was not an integrative healing process. So they came to me as a Pilates teacher in those clinics, and that's what I did.
You almost became once something becomes chronic, okay, why is it chronic? Why does it have to keep coming back? You're missing something. You're missing something that you're not seeing because you're focused on just the shoulder or just the elbow. Getting into it too, you have this thing on Sunday, this first class you're going to have. Tell me what it's all about.
I have a teacher training. It's a 1-day teacher training for certified teachers only, meaning you have to have basic anatomy and exercise physiology from something, Pilates, yoga, personal training, because I don't want to teach that right now. What I want to teach is I want to take teachers who already have a background in fitness or movement, who are looking for something new, who also are looking for a way to work more, maybe one-to-one if they're group instructors and they want to work one-to-one, and they don't have something they can take to someone's home that will just give them a completely different, very, very effective full body workout at home.
Good.
It's very hard. You have to be very creative. And I did that for 3 years. Trust me, you have to bring bands and bars and bells, and you have to have all this stuff.
Yeah.
You walk in with your CoreSpring kit and you've got something that you can work with. But I will say that I have the masterclass is open to anyone who has a CoreSpring. And this is actually an online and in-person training. It's going to be here in Pasadena. And you can, if you're in Pasadena and you're hearing this and you're like, I'm that person, I'm that certified teacher and I want to do this thing, reach out to me through the website and tell me that you want to join, and we can get you, if you're in California, we can overnight you your order for a CoreSpring kit. That's all you need. If you want to do the masterclass, you just buy the kit, let me know that's what you want to do. The link is on the website, on the teacher training page. It's $35, but if you're just joining the masterclass, if you're just a student, just want to do it, you get the masterclass, plus you get the Q&A that happens afterwards, plus the overview of the training and the 4 pillars of CoreSpring. Again, those have emerged from working with CoreSpring. I didn't say, I'm going to create something with 4 pillars and this thing's going to do it. No, as I worked with CoreSpring, 4 pillars emerged: alignment for tone, breath for posture, core connection, and body balance and motion. Those 4 pillars really help. They pervade each class and each exercise, but we have different classes that emphasize when you're doing slap, stretch, side, for example. Is it a core connection? Are you going to focus on core connection? Are you going to focus on balance? So you, as the teacher or as the student, you sort of bring the focus into that. That's part of that mind-body connection, is that you are looking at it through that prism. So you can come to the masterclass and you can do, and you pay the $35 and you get both. But if you just have time for the masterclass, by all means do that. I wanted to give you something. It's a bonus. If you're a certified teacher and you want to do it, I have a 30% discount if you get on my mailing list. So if you get on the mailing list, go to the website, go to corespring.com, to the teacher training page, to the tab, get on the mailing list, and it's just at the bottom. And you have to fill out the application. We have a few days, and if you're in California, I can get it to you. And if you want to pay the shipping to the East Coast, I'll do that too. I'm not going to do that. But that will get you into that one-day training. What that one-day training allows you to do is to be a certified CoreSpring teacher, because there is a certification process. It's pretty simple, but it creates an affiliate link for you. That's an affiliate certified teacher as opposed to a fan link. So you get a higher percentage every time a CoreSpring is sold with that number. You also get the wholesale opportunities to purchase CoreSpring wholesale and sell it in your studio or sell it to your clients. You also get the chance to get a digital presence. You're eligible, not saying it's guaranteed, but you are eligible to have a presence on our digital platform. We have an app we're developing for 2026, and you can have your own class in there for your own people to follow it, and you don't have to do the price of an app. So, and it's part of being the community.
Yes. It's almost like a way for someone to add a different class in their, say, their Pilates studio or whatever, just where they have as a business. So now you have an opportunity to actually reach more people, help more people, to bring more people in from them, to make your studio grow as a business and have more, I won't say clients, but more people to actually help in general. That's just everyone's goal who has a healthcare business. That's the goal.
I've always wanted this, because this is what I did for myself. I've wanted my clients to go home and do something so that when they come into me, they're not doing damage control. We talked about this.
Perfect. Yep.
I'll give you a perfect example. I have an elderly woman. She has a CoreSpring. I gave it to her. It's here. Try before you buy. Take it home. She's like, I'm just not using it. I said, so she came in with back pain from gardening. I said, I got a challenge for you. When this happens again, do CoreSpring after.
Yeah.
And then come see me. Yeah. She did. She goes, it worked.
It's magic.
It got rid of the back pain immediately. And I could go about my day. I said, that's what this is about. So she started doing that. And I said, now I have a second challenge for you. Do it before you garden. And offset it all together. And she did it before. Now she does it before she gardens. And she doesn't have pain. And if she does, she's got a little tool she can do it. So this is about taking these things that, like, I was traveling. I was in a train going across the continent of Australia this year. And I woke up and I had a crick in my neck. And I had an e-bike tour that day, and I was like, oh my God, I could go on the e-bike tour because I got this crick in my neck. And I was talking myself out of a once in a lifetime chance. I'm not going to be on the Outback on a train anytime soon. And I went, what am I thinking? I've got CoreSpring. I did my neck protocol, and I was good to go.
Nice.
It was fun. And I went on my bike tour. So good to go is one of the tenets of CoreSpring as well. And in the app and in our membership, we have 5, 10, 15-minute good to goes. This is what I was talking about. You reset, you do slack stretch side, there's seated exercises you can do in a chair. And then you're good to go. We don't have to take these injuries that happen, because they will. We're vertical bipeds after all. We've got this big head. Lots is going to happen. It happens. It happens to me, it happens to you. But do we have the tools to just deal with it right when it happens, before it becomes that chronic thing? Because that's what happens. It's like the chassis on your car. It just gets a little out of alignment, and all of a sudden all your tires are ruined, and you have to do all this stuff because you just didn't know it, or let it go, or heard the pinging sound.
It wasn't bad enough. Yeah.
It wasn't bad enough. And so I'm here to help you understand. You can head off at the pass, and there is a ton of stuff coming with CoreSpring. It is not just about just this one unit, and despite all the programs that I've created with it, we have so many fun things coming up in the future with CoreSpring that we of course.
It makes sense. It's mobile. You can take it anywhere you want to go, travel with it, and now you have an app and videos you can watch to now correct your own condition, maybe especially acute, before it becomes an issue where you can enjoy your travel, enjoy your day, enjoy your life.
And you can get in and do a really kick-ass, pardon my language, workout.
Yes.
It's a great class. We have these, we have tons of classes that take you through all these different exercises in a flow that give you a sense of, when you walk out, that you're like, wow, so you get to work out, get in shape, but you also, you can head off those things that might prevent you from doing that. And if you want to do Pilates, go do Pilates. Reformer Pilates is all the rage. If you're a studio owner and you're watching this or listening to this, if you're a yoga studio owner and your clients are like, well, maybe you can have some reformer classes, or, and you don't want to commit one of your studios to that. These are huge machines. They're very expensive. You have to have somebody who can teach the program, run the program. It's a really different animal, and it takes up a lot of space that's not used when no one's there. CoreSpring is different. You can take unmonetized spaces like a corner of a gym. You can take a yoga studio that's, you have a yoga class going on in one studio in your business. You have a CoreSpring class going on in the other studio. You have an equipment class going on. Perfect. So it's a different price point. We've invented a new genre. It's called mat equipment or mat equipment.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to offer your customers, your clients, just a truly holistic healing program that will also get them in shape. And I'm sorry, but that's why my life is kind of the story of CoreSpring, because that's what's important to me.
You explained it very, very well. You're going to help a lot of people now in the future. I'm glad I know you now before you're famous, because you will be famous. And
I don't know about that. I just want people to get it in their hands, and it's all about having fun.
Having fun, helping people.
I have to close with this, Dr. Penny, because I think you'll understand this. I have to close with this. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
it's fun.
When we are playing sports, we play sports, and then we practice to get better. Mm-hmm. When we want to get in shape, we got to go work out. It's the wrong 4-letter word. Ugh. It's play. We need to. And part of what happens with the direct spring resistance is that you have the time. You have the time to work with it. It's incrementally opening, so you can feel a different level of flexibility and strength without rushing it. It's not going to take you or drop you. So you have the curiosity, the mind-body curiosity of, I can go a little bit further. I can go a little farther. I can go a little farther. You are playing with it. It's play. It's curiosity and play, and not just working out.
That's what I tell my patients. If you're going to start being active, I always ask them, what do you like to do? Let's start with that, because you'll be more motivated to do that than going to gym. If you never go to the gym, then do what you like to do. So I mean, you're giving someone a chance to play, get healthier so they can take mobile if they want to go. Like I said, when you're famous, please remember me in the future. So I'm looking for.
Thank you, Dr. Tony. I appreciate your support for your lips to God's ears. But I think if people would never show up to a reformer class, or never go to a yoga class, or never go to a mat Pilates class, they can come to a CoreSpring class and get a lot of those benefits. In fact, most of them. And if they are a big yoga fan, we have something for them too coming down the line. But if you want to do CoreSpring at home and go to your yoga class, you will improve in your yoga, because your mind body will improve its conversation, and you'll be able to execute poses that maybe have been challenging to you in a way that is very unexpected and very, very healing. And it feels good when you can do a pose that you couldn't do.
Nice. So as we end the show, anything else? What's one advice you give someone getting started with CoreSpring and just getting healthy in general? What would be your first thing for them to let them know to get them motivated, or just get that ball rolling to healthier state?
Get a kit, because the kit that you're buying is really the education. You get a month membership, and that's 30 days. That's 30 days from whenever you come in. You get the membership because it's not useful without the education. And it's taken me a long time to get my head around the membership, the app, and the classes. So I'm just creating the membership right now. And there are classes there in all 4 pillars that I talked about. That's kind of how we organize them right now. And then they're the good to goes. They're going to be at least 4 good to goes and 4 classes before the end of the year. Well, actually before, like by this week, because I'm already doing it. They'll be available. And I teach 2 to 3 live classes a week. Wow, and you get those because you get an unlimited access. So you can pop into the live class. And if you can't make the live class, you get the recording of it. That's what you get for 30 days. You get access to me, and there are live classes, so people ask questions. You also hear what other people are saying. People do say, if that's kind of bothering my shoulder, what should I do about that? And I'll tell them. Perfect. That always involves a little piece of education, meaning this is how you do this to offset pressure in your shoulder. And that helps that person, plus helps everybody else in the room. So the live class access you get with this, the retail is $179 plus tax and shipping. That's the primary thing. You get the membership, you have your CoreSpring, you can join us for the 1.0 classes. And then 2.0 and some really good goodies are coming in 2026. But if you are a teacher, let's say you're teaching mat Pilates or you're teaching reformer Pilates and you want something for yourself because you're on your feet all day, get a CoreSpring, maybe join us for the teacher training and get the certificate if you want to. I'm very keen on teachers taking care of their body, their own body.
Huge.
Because as health practitioners, we're often in pain ourselves.
Yeah.
And because we're on our feet all day working with other people's bodies. So I was really picky with my teachers. I was like, don't hold the straps of the reformer like that. Do it like this so that they're on the machine and they can use the foot bar to offset. You don't have to lift their whole weight. And it was like a revelation because a lot of teacher training programs don't teach this kind of stuff. How you're using your own body as a fitness teacher is really important. And I used to teach 7 group classes a week. And I will tell you, I just did 92 demonstrations of CoreSpring. Individual at the booth between San Diego and Boston in the month of November. And I taught group classes and I felt great.
Wow.
I felt great. I didn't feel painful. I didn't feel pain. When I got home and I had a flood in my kitchen and I had to clean that up, that's when my back started to bother me.
Home stuff.
But I'm like, well, good thing I've got CoreSpring, and I was good to go. So that's you just have to think of yourself like a car. You got to put gas in, you got to take care of it, and that's it.
Every day.
Just every day. Is it simple? Is it easy? Is it fun? That's my question. Welcome to CoreSpring.
Yeah, those 3 things. Quick smile for the thumbnail, as I said, for 5 seconds. All right, my friend. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hold on 1 second, Carolyn. I'm going to end the show. Then thanks for watching, guys.